Thank you for listening. My name is Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21. I'm a mixed martial arts journalist. I currently contribute to bjpen.com, Low Kick MMA, CageSidePress.com. You could find my work there as well as my YouTube channel at aka Strauss21. And of course, the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast that you are listening to right now. Here is my latest interview. I hope you enjoy it. I want to welcome back Jason Parillo. What's going on, man? I know you didn't work with BJ this time around for his fight, but you've been busy nonetheless because you got, Cyborg coming up here in just a couple weeks, huh?
Yeah, actually a week from Saturday, so a little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 10 days or so. How has everything been? I mean, I have long been on the roller coaster that she is by far the best women's fighter to ever do it. How is she heading into this Nunes fight? Because this is probably the biggest fight of her career.
Yeah, it is. It is the biggest fight of her career. I mean, well, whoever you are, your next fight's always your biggest fight now, isn't it?
True.
But it is, and she's prepared and she's in great shape. And I say it time and time again about Chris Cyborg is she's somebody that you don't have to be overly concerned with as far as staying out of the gym. She pretty much stays in shape year round, and she's always trying to improve, and she's always she's just always plugging forward. So yeah, no, she's in great shape, and she's ready to go.
Yeah, I saw an interview that you did. It was like one of those street side interviews, and it was before the Kunitsaya fight. And I think you were talking to Ariel, but you had said something to the extent of, yeah, I called Cyborg and I asked her if she's doing cocaine or drinking. All she does is train, and you just kind of echoed that there. But is Cyborg one of those cases where you kind of got to reel her in and say, hey, maybe don't go so hard today? Is she one of those kind of fighters?
100%. She is. I mean, and that's happened over the last couple of weeks, matter of fact, because, like I said, she stays in shape. And obviously when it comes to fight time, she even pushes harder. So you gotta, convince her to put on the brakes sometimes and take a little rest. And then I say it time and time again, the person that's going to beat Chris Cyborg, it's Chris Cyborg. That might even be overdoing it, but she's smart, and she knows her body, and she knows herself, and she's prepared for many fights before in the past. So she starts catching on, and it's we all need reminders. So I remind her that she need to rest at times, for sure. And that's a better issue to have than trying to get somebody to train. I'd rather have to try to figure out I'd rather try to convince them to put on the brakes a little bit than try to put them in, try to get them to just work, just try to push themselves to the maximum threshold.
Yeah, for sure. The other way around would you question why they're even a fighter at that point. But yeah, right. I mean, you've worked with some of the best ever. Cyborg, as you mentioned, BJ, Bisping. He just landed that commentary role, man. I mean, it seems like that's a perfect fit for him, right?
Oh, it is. It's right up his alley. He's a sharp talker, and he's a smart guy, and speaks very well, obviously. So it's right up his alley. And he knows the sport is good, if not better than anybody. So. It's just, I think it's a natural transition for him.
Yeah, I can't think of a better. You're seeing more and more fighters getting into it, but he's a guy that really doesn't need to fake it. It just is purely natural for him. But yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the state of boxing. I mean, you're a guy, of course, that comes from the boxing world, but here we are, man. The heavyweight division is back in business, right? I mean, Fury Wilder, you got Anthony Joshua. I mean, how does that make you feel being a boxing guy?
Yeah, it's great, and I think that's been a big part of, the heavyweight division in boxing is, is a big deal. It really keeps boxing on the map, and, God bless the Klitschko brothers, but they had the titles for the last 10 years or 12 years or whatever it was. I don't know how long it was. It was a good portion of time, which, not that it was killing boxing, but it just, it was taking the heavyweight division out of the equation, kind of, and it's not, I mean, they're great, smart, intelligent, talented boxers, good fighters, but they weren't the most exciting guys in the world. So, you need a little excitement out there. You got a guy like Tyson Fury who speaks the gift of gab, and, and all the, obviously Wilder and Joshua, these guys, you just got more diversity to the division now, and you got more matches, I think. And again, he starts shining the light on the heavyweight division again. So, I'm excited for it. I'm well removed from boxing. This is a full-time career now for me, training MMA guys and whatnot. So, I focus more on work than I do any type of entertainment, I guess, at this point. But with it being that way, I think that it'll open my eyes and make me a fan again.
Yeah, I think you said it best too, man. I mean, when the heavyweight division is in business, that even the casuals start paying attention. What did you think of the Wilder and Fury fight, though, man? In itself, did you think like everybody else did that Fury pretty much got robbed?
Well, and that's what I heard. To be honest with you, I watch mostly the highlights. I have my kids at night, and
Hmm.
I said I usually when I have my kids, I try to steer away from the fighting. Are they forced to watch fights time and time again? Yes, but that particular night, I ended up not catching it. But I watched a lot of the highlights, and I watched what was going on, and it appeared that Tyson obviously could have pulled the W, but hey, it makes it more entertaining to have a draw and have them do it all over again. Why not?
Yeah, no, it sure does, man. Another guy that you're well acquainted with, Tito Ortiz. I mean, he looked. I don't think he's ever looked better. I mean, would you agree with that sentiment?
I would, and I felt that in all the years that I spent with Tito, I felt like that's the hardest he worked for. But he always works hard, but he wasn't trying to get at anything. He was, when I had him sparring, he showed up every time, and there was no. He's got a lot of injuries, so a lot of times that it's hard to do certain things because of his injuries, but he really set that aside and kind of focused and put himself in a real good state of mind and got ready properly for that fight. It showed up. He looked real good, and he knocked out Chuck Liddell, which was obviously a redemption for him, and will help him sleep like a baby for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, man, you really said it there. I mean, that was a little bit of redemption, but it was nice to see that Tito finally got through a camp, without any major injuries, and he looked tremendous. And it's kind of a bummer because it's at the tail end of his career, and you kind of see what those years that we got robbed, I guess you could say, what he could have been. So, but yeah, hats off to Tito, man, and hats off to you because you got him in great shape for that fight. You mentioned that this is a full time gig for you, of course, at the RVCA gym. You're killing it out there, man. How have things been? I mean, I know that you mentioned, Cyborg's coming up, and you're not a guy that likes to proactively go out and recruit fighters. They come to you. But how have things been?
Yeah, things are good. I mean, there's guys that I've been getting to know over the last few couple years too that, I'm going to have more time to put some focus on them. And you say I don't really reach out to fighters. I don't know. That's just not my style. I
Mhm.
think I think if we connect, we connect, and if I'm somebody that they really want to gain something from, they'll reach out to me. So yeah, that's usually pretty much my stick right there. I haven't really, I don't step outside of that. I don't go looking for, guys are going to come train with you if they want to. If they feel there's a connection, they feel they can gain something from you, they're going to look at it. And to be totally honest, I'm going to have so much better response of them. They're going to listen to me if they come to me and ask me. If I go ask somebody, hey, I'm going to train you and make you better, they might be, they might be a little skeptical, and
Mhm.
I just feel if it's something they want, that means they're going to be a little bit more open ear to it, and they're going to stop and they're going to listen to me because that's really what I want. I mean, I can't pull anything out of anybody if they're not listening, if they're just, going through the motion. So, yeah, for me, it always works out when they come to me and it seems like something that we work well together. We have good chemistry, and that's usually when you can get the most gains.
Yeah, that 100% makes sense, man. Is that something that you had to learn the hard way, or is that just something that always kind of made sense to you?
It's always kind of made sense to me. I mean, it's no, I've never, I haven't ever really gone out there and reached out to people. It's always just made sense to me. I was a fighter. It's kind of
Mm, there you
how
go.
I thought. I've had guys ask me to, I, I have a great, fighters have pretty good instincts of people. You pick up on, especially if you're any good. You got people coming out of the woodworks. You get approached by a lot of different people. You get approached by a lot of different coaches. You get approached by a lot, people want to, start attach themselves to you. and I prefer a guy that want to attach himself to me as opposed to me want to attach himself to you. Because they attach themselves to me, then I can gain again. I can get more out of them, and they're going to find out I'm in it for them. I gave up putting myself first as far as being a fighter. That's what you do when you're a fighter. You're number one. You focus on you. You come first, the whole 9 yards. I gave that up. So now my fighters come first, and my ego isn't the most important thing. Is their ego is the most important thing. So, yeah, it really was. It really was a natural, real natural thought process of mine.
Yeah, very cool, man. Makes sense to me. Complete sense. As we said, UFC 232, just, a little while away here, December 29th. It's, of course, a big night for you. You've had a couple of big nights just this month alone. So it's been a good time. I appreciate you taking some time with me, man. I always appreciate it, Jason. I'd like to give you a few minutes here to shout out whatever you'd like, man. I usually say coaches and sponsors, but you are a coach. So whatever you'd like, man.
Yeah. My shout out is out there to BJ Penn. I want to see you kick some ass, bud. It sounds like you're getting in pretty good shape. I want to see you do really well, and I know you're going to do well. You just got to put your mind to it, and you'll have that W you need. That's it, man.
That's
That's
cool.
all I got for you.
Well, I appreciate your time, Jason. I look forward to speaking to you. Maybe we'll touch base at maybe first quarter of the year or something like that.
Sounds good, bud. All right, Mikey, take it easy.
Take care, man. Enjoy your holidays.
All right, you too.
Bye.